Hey guys, Omar Khan here from Theta Trading with another video, and today's topic is going to be how anyone, and I mean anyone, can retire in 10 years or less if they do the right things. Before we move on to today's topic, if I could ask you guys a big favor, I always ask this, I'm trying our best to get ourselves to 1,000 subscribers. If you would consider subscribing to our channel, if you like the content that we are creating, if it's helping you get to your financial journey, financial goals, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button. It'll help promote our video to more people. And we really want to promote financial literacy because I know it caused me so many problems in my life. Hopefully you guys do that. Now, let's move on to today's topic. How anyone can retire in 10 years or less. First of all, the traditional method of retirement sucks, okay? You graduate school and you work for 40, 45 years and you retire at 65 years old. Okay, great. And then you don't know if you're going to have any great health. Why? Because you did a crappy job the entire time. You might have been sitting in front of a computer, sedentary, you got health issues, you're older. We don't want this. We want to retire at a much younger age and have the time and vitality to do it as well. All right? So I'm not a huge fan of the traditional method, which is, like I said, retiring at 65, 70 years old after a job, maybe doing a job you didn't like your whole life. That's not a great place to be, and that's the traditional method. That's what we do in North America. I think this is a crappy deal. You retire, and the idea is that 65 or 70, you're going to have a government pension. Hopefully your home is paid off or close to it. Your children have left the home. They're on their own if you have children. And this puts you in a spot where you can retire. But like I said, this is not so much fun. Who wants to work 40, 45 years, sacrifice, not have a whole lot of fun, enjoy your youth, and then retire and then take your chances with time and your health? No one lives forever. I'm just saying, let's figure out a quicker way to do this. All right. Now, first of all, you have to figure out how much money you need for retirement. So, for example, you say to yourself, you know what? I need $100K to retire. Now, there's something called the 4% rule. That means you take the amount of money that you have, you times it by 4% a year, and that'll be the income that you'll need to retire. So if I say to myself, you know what? I want $100,000 a year. Okay, so let's say my home is paid off and I want $100,000 a year coming in. Well, how do I do that? Well, at the 4% rule, I would need $2.5 million in an asset generating me 4% a month to give me $100K. Now, you know how long it takes to save $2.5 million going to work? It's almost impossible. Most people will never, ever get there in their lifetime. So this is why I don't understand why this is such a great idea and why people strive for this. You might get there in 40 or 45 years, but that's a crappy deal. Now, if you happen to get $2.5 million and you're getting 4% on that a year, you're getting $100K. Now, how are we able to get 4% on that? And what does a traditional stock bond portfolio look like as you age? So as you age, you're supposed to have traditionally a certain amount of stocks and a certain amount of bonds in your portfolio, okay? So for example, a 50-year-old would have 50% bonds and 50% stocks. A 40-year-old would have 40% bonds, 60% stocks. A 60-year-old would have 60% bonds, 40% stock. So basically, the older you get, the more you are supposed to shift into bonds and less into stocks. Why? Because you can't afford the herky-jerkiness of the stock market as you get older. You need that income to retire on, okay? So in order for you to get $100,000 at a 4%, on the 4% rule, you need about $2.5 million a year. And like I said, that's not easy to do. If you're going to a job and just saving and letting your money grow, it's really hard. It's going to take a long time. To me, it's not a great idea. If you happen to get that, your portfolio should last indefinitely. The reason is because you're only taking up 4% a year. If you have let's say you're a 50-year-old and you have a 50% stock, a 50% bond portfolio, well, traditionally, this is probably going to return you somewhere around the 7, 8, 9% area. Let's call it 8% for the sake of argument. That's twice as much as you were taking out. So your portfolio should grow, okay, slowly over time, and you should be able to take the 100K out without dipping into your 2.5 million. In fact, your 2.5 million should grow slightly every year, hopefully 3, 4, 5% a year. Now, to me, again, this is not a great method. I'm going to tell you what I think the best way to do it is, okay? All right. Let's say you have a job and you are working in a job. And guys, I tell you, this is life-changing. Anyone can do this. If you have a job and you're working in a job, and I know how it is, you're working in a job, you can't leave that job because you have obligations. You have a family to support, you have things that you want to do. You can't leave. You're addicted to the income. You need the income. All right. You don't have the ability to start your own business or et cetera, or something like that. What do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. And I'm going to make another video on how I retired in my 30s and how anyone can do it. And this, I did in less than 10 years. Anyone can do this. Okay, so while you have a job, learn how to sell naked puts and covered calls. If you don't know what that is, take a look at one of my previous videos on selling naked puts and covered calls. It is a life changer in my opinion. Game changer financially. Now, you are selling naked puts, meaning you are going to agree to buy stocks that you want to buy anyways. Think of your favorite companies that you want to buy. Instead of buying them, you're simply going to guarantee a buy price for a certain period of time. I know it sounds like a bit of a complicated strategy. It's not. It's quite easy. You're simply agreeing to buy stocks for at or below their current trading price. So meaning worst case scenario that you'll have to buy a stock, but you would have bought anyways. The thing is you're going to get it at a discount. Now this is called a naked put. Okay. What I did is I used all this money that I got from agreeing to buy stock, because the worst case scenario is I have to buy that stock, which I don't mind. Now, if you don't want to do a stock, by the way, you can do the entire stock market. You can do something called an ETF, an exchange traded fund. I've done videos on that as well. Take a look at one of those videos. Now, an exchange traded fund is, let's say, for example, the QQQ, which is the top 100 stocks of the NASDAQ. So if you don't want to bet on a specific company, you're like, I don't want to bet on Apple or Tesla or Microsoft, some of the big companies in the NASDAQ. You say, you know what, I want to just agree to buy all 101. So even if one company goes bankrupt, it's not going to affect me. The stock market, on average, has gone up about 11.25% a year. So the odds are heavily in your favor, okay? So you agree to buy stocks that you want to buy anyways, or ETFs, okay? Then if you have to buy them, you can do something called selling a covered call, where you agree to sell your stocks for a profit and you get paid for that as well. All while at the same time maintaining a worst case scenario where you own the stock. Great spot to be. Now, you do not adjust your lifestyle, okay? Don't adjust your lifestyle. I know what it feels like. You'll start making an extra $1,000 a month and $2,000 a month and $3,000 and $5,000 and then $10,000. And it gets very tempting. You're like, hey, you know, I've always wanted this car, or I've always wanted this, or I've always wanted that. I'm not saying don't treat yourself, because you can treat yourself a little bit here and there. But at the end of the day, that vast majority of that money should be saved. And what do you want to save it for? What you want to use it for is to produce more cash-bearing assets. Meaning, what I did was, I used all the premiums that I received from selling naked puts and covered calls, simply for agreeing to buy, sell stock. I used that to buy cash flow positive real estate. And I did that on the evenings, I did that on weekends, I did that whenever I could. And when did I trade? Well, I trade while I was working, because it only takes about 30 minutes a day to trade. This specific strategy called the Theta strategy only takes about 30 minutes a day to implement. If you want to learn more about the strategy, or if you want to learn more about what we do here at Theta Trading, click on the link below, book a call with us. We'd be happy to explain everything to you, okay? So, step one, write naked puts, covered calls. Collect money for doing that. Take that money and invest it in cash flow positive real estate if you want to be hands-on. If you don't want to be hands-on, consider investing in a REIT. That is a real estate investment trust, okay? Which means you'll have exposure to real estate, but you won't have to worry about the day-to-day landlording and tenanting issues. And you have to obviously research which REIT you want, but they typically, you know, a lot of them pay between, let's say, 6 to 9%, plus a little bit of appreciation, hopefully. So you get a good payment out of it. If you're taking money every month and dumping into that, think of how quickly your income starts going up, because it starts compounding, it starts adding up. And you ask yourself, okay, you say to yourself, well, I don't have the money to start off to buy a stock. Well, I don't know how to, there's no getting around this. If you don't have enough money to buy stock, you're going to have to do a few things. You're going to have to beg or borrow, not steal. If you have to get an extra job, if you have to work more at work, if you have to get more education so you can get promotion, you got to do whatever you got to do so that you can get an extra income, so that you have more money to invest. Because the reality is, wealthy people have their money working for them. Non-wealthy people trade their time in for money. You have to get out of that as soon as you can. Get your money working for you. And this is exactly what I did. I retired in my 30s doing this exact strategy. Sell naked puts, agree to buy stocks I want to buy anyways, take that money, buy real estate. Do it over and over and over again. Now, the idea eventually is that your stock portfolio will be spitting out positive cash flow, which will go into your real estate portfolio. Your real estate portfolio will spit out more positive cash flow, and you use that to buy more stock and keep going until one day you've had enough stock and enough real estate where you say, I've had enough. I want to retire. Remember, conventional methods will get you conventional results. Meaning, if you want to retire at 65 or 70, have at her. Take the conventional approach if that's something you want to do. It's not something that ever appealed to me. If it's not something that appeals to you, then you have to look at an unconventional approach. Why? Because you're looking for unconventional results. And to me, if you have a job and a busy family life, like I did this when we had 3 young kids at home, I was able to do trading while at work while not having it interfere with my work. I was able to build a real estate portfolio in the evenings and weekends. It was a grind. It was a hustle, but it got me to where I wanted to get to. And nothing in life is easy. You're going to have to work at it. I'm just saying this is a method for anyone to get there if you're willing to put in the work. Now, lastly, if you happen to get in that retirement phase within the next few years, really think about what you want to do with the rest of your life, because you're going to get a point where it's going to get idle. I know what that feels like. You have nothing to do, all your friends are at work, and you ask yourself, well, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? The ideal thing is you have to find something that you have a passion for, and then to be able to make money off it, monetize it, be the best you can be at it. For us, it was I wanted to teach people how to invest and how to achieve early retirement. That was my goal, and that's exactly what I'm doing. If I didn't have the money, the means to do it, I wouldn't have the ability to start a business and the herky-jerkiness of a business when it comes to income. You don't have that ability, especially if you have a lot of family commitments. So I say, guys, learn how to write naked puts, covered calls, take that money, buy real estate, and go after it ferociously until you've got your retirement earned. Remember, conventional methods will give you conventional results. We don't want conventional. If you're looking to retire and you want to learn more about what we do here at Theta Trading, like I said, click on the link below, book a call with us. If you have any questions or comments, please ask them. I address all the comments myself. Ask away and let us know what content you'd like to see in the future. Anyways, next time we will be going over how I retired in my 30s. So I'm going to go in more detail. And guys, until next time, Omar Khan from Theta Trading. Take care and talk soon.